Level 1. The Thrall-Born Drudge. The rain is horizontal. It finds every gap in the rough-spun wool hood you pulled over your face an hour ago. You're on your knees in the mud at the edge of a settlement that doesn't even have a name on any map. Just a scatter of longhouses on a Norwegian fjord. Your fingers are cracked open from hauling billstones out of a half-sunk Nar, the cargo vessel that nearly capsized in the night. Around you, 15 other bodies work in the same frozen silence. No one speaks, because no one has the breath. You are not a warrior. You are not even a rower yet. You are Thrall-Born, the child of a captive taken 3 generations back, and your only value is how many stones you can move before your spine gives out.
You sleep in the animal byre, curled against a dying goat for warmth. Your meal is a single handful of crushed barley and a strip of hard smoked fish that tastes like the bottom of a boat. The man who owns you, a minor herseer with a silver arm ring and a permanent sneer, calls you Trelle and kicks you awake before dawn. There is no wage, there is no promise. Your survival token is the absence of a spear in your ribs. You learn quickly that the warband's real hierarchy has nothing to do with loyalty or courage. It runs on Drelander, a raw, unspoken calculus of who can absorb the most suffering without breaking. The Hird, the warrior elite, does not even see you. You are a tool, like a whetstone or a sack of oats. But you learn something in the byre that no chieftain will ever understand. The sound of a man's breathing when he is truly afraid. You learn who hoards food, who grooms the herseer's son for favor, and which thrall will be the first to take a knife to a sleeping guard. That knowledge is your only currency.
You stop thinking in days. You think in 4 sun cycles until the next supply ship. You learn to gauge the herseer's mood by the angle of his drinking horn. You never complain. You never flinch. You volunteer for the worst task, cleaning the Scully latrine trench, hauling the drowned sheep from the river, because the others will remember. In one day, when the warband is short-handed and the oars need bodies, the sea sleumoth, the taskmaster, will point at you instead of the man who hid. The raiding season begins. 2 Drakkar, longships, are being dragged from their sheds. The herseer needs every living male over 12 to pull. You feel the rope bite into your shoulder. As the prow touches water, the sea sleumoth tosses you an oar. Not a word, just a look. You are no longer a thrall. You are now a rod faster, an Oar-Bound grunt, the lowest rank that still counts as a man.
Level 2. The Oar-Bound Grunt. Your hands are a single bruise. The oar is a 12-foot ash shaft that weighs more than a child, and you've been pulling it for 6 hours without rest. The wind is wrong, choppy, chaotic, coming off the coast of what will one day be Scotland, and every wave slaps the hull sideways. You sit on a sea chest that isn't yours, wedged between 2 men who hate you because you're Thrall-Born, and they are Carl's. Free-born farmers who own a cow and a rusty sax knife. The steerymater shouts in a dialect you barely understand. When you miss a stroke, the man behind you doesn't say a word. He just drives his elbow into your kidney.
You are paid in nothing but matrage, a daily ration of hard bread, a slice of salted mutton, and a sour ale ration that you drink warm. The herseer has promised a share of plunder, 1 silver penninger for every 10 you help load. You know that promise will be broken. Every grunt knows. But you also know that the men who complain are the first to be sent on the forepost, the forward scout boat that has a 40% return rate. So you keep your mouth shut, your oar synchronized, and your eyes on the horizon. The real enemy is not the Saxon Coast Guard or the Irish monks. The real enemy is skip attack, the exhaustion that makes your vision tunnel and your arms feel like wet leather. The steeramod watches for it. When a man's oar starts dipping a half-beat late, he marks him. That man becomes the baitier, the one sent to climb the mast in a storm, or the first over the shield wall.
You learn to fake a full stroke by leaning with your back, not your arms. You learn to breathe through your nose so no one hears you gasping. You find an ally, not a friend. Friends get you killed. An ally, a transactional partner. You share your dried fish with an old carl named Geir, who lost 3 fingers to frostbite. In return, he teaches you the Hophelia, how to read the sea's color, the bird flocks, the way the cloud shadow moves. He also teaches you the unspoken rank of the lensmen, the lone soldiers who owe loyalty to no chief, only to silver. Watch them, Geir whispers. They will betray the Hersir for 2 aurar. Be ready to switch sides when it happens. Your first raid. A small monastery on an unnamed island. The Styrimad points at you. You, first ashore. No shield, no helmet, just a boat hook and a sayax. You run up the beach because the alternative is being shoved from behind and trampled. A monk swings a censer at your head. You don't remember the next 10 seconds, only the hot weight of the sayax in your gut and the sound of your own breathing. When it's over, the Hersir tosses you a broken shield and says, "Now you're a fulgu." Shield bearer. You are no longer a rower. You are a killer.
Level 3. The Shield Bearer. The shield weighs 18 pounds of limbwood and rawhide. You carry it on your back during the march, and on your arm during the shield wall. You are no longer anonymous. The Hersir knows your name now. He calls you Thrall-Born, Thrall Brother, with a smirk. But it's better than being called nothing. You've survived 3 raids. You've killed 2 men, a monk, and a farmer's son who couldn't have been more than 14. You don't sleep well anymore. You wake up reaching for a sayax that isn't there. But you've also learned that the Warband's economy runs on virding, respect measured in arm rings, gold cuff weight, and the quality of your kit.
You now own a spjot, a thrusting spear with a barbed head, a sax that you sharpened yourself, and a skegex, a bearded axe taken from a dead Dane in a skirmish last month. Your helmet is rusted and too large, but it has a nasal guard. Your shoes are rotting. You sleep in the scully now, not the byre, but you're at the far end, where the smoke is thickest, and the rats run over your legs at night. Your pay is irregular, sometimes a handful of penningar, sometimes a bolt of wool, sometimes nothing for weeks. You've learned to stash half of everything in a leather pouch sewn into your tunic. The shield wall is a lie. It looks like a solid formation of overlapping lindenwood, but the truth is gaps. Every man is calculating when to step back, when to let the man next to him take the axe, when to push forward to claim a corpse's boots. You learn to watch the Hersir standard bearer. If he takes 1 step back, the whole line will break in 12 seconds. If he holds, you hold. You also learn the Morthvarg, the murder wolves, veterans who have killed more than 10 men. They don't fight in the wall. They stand behind it, waiting for the moment to leap over and shatter the enemy's morale. You want to become one, but the price is a piece of yourself that you will never get back.
You stop volunteering. You stop proving yourself. Now, you watch. You notice that the Hersir favors a young huskarl named Arnfast, who wears a Frankish sword and talks too much. You notice that Arnfast cheats at dice and owes silver to 3 different lensmen. You file that information away. You also start training in the Holmgang, the duel circle. Not because you want to fight, but because the men who win are never sent on the forepost. You lose your first 3 matches. You break a rib. You learn that the trick is not to be stronger, but to let the other man exhaust himself on your shield. The Hersir calls a ping, an assembly. After a failed raid, 6 men died. The Styrimother blames the thralls. Arnfast blames the weather. You say nothing. But later, in the scully, the Hersir's bodyguard, a massive warrior named Rolf, pulls you aside. You don't talk, he says. That's good. The chief needs a new Merkisvein. Standard bearer. Arnfast is too loud. You're quiet. Tomorrow, you stand next to the chief. You have just become level 4. Not by courage, by silence.
Level 4. The Standard Bearer.
You stand 3 feet to the left of the Hersier at all times. The murky, the war banner, a raven stitched on faded wool, is tied to a 7-foot ash pole. Your job is not to fight. Your job is to not fall down. If the banner touches the ground, the war banner believes the gods have abandoned them. Men will run. Men will die. You carry the psychological weight of 24 lives on a splintered piece of wood. The Hersier speaks to you now, not as a thrall, not as a grunt, but as a Drenger, a man of standing. You see that ridge, he says, pointing with his chin. If we lose the left flank, you plant the banner on that rock, and you do not move. Do you understand?
You understand that the Hersier is testing you. The left flank is held by a flocky of Swedish mercenaries who have already threatened to switch sides twice. You now manage 24 men, the shield bearers, the rowers, and 3 thralls who carry the supply sled. You are responsible for their food, their water, and their morale, which is near zero because the Hersier just cut rations. You have no authority to change anything, but you are blamed for everything. The household warriors sneer at you behind your back. Thrall-Born with a banner, they laugh. You learn to smile. The Hersier is afraid. You didn't see it from the byre, but from 3 feet away, you see everything. The way his hand shakes when he straps his sword belt, the way he drinks alone after the scully falls silent, the way he asks you, what do the men say? Not because he cares, but because he is terrified of a mutiny. You realize that you now hold the real power, not the banner, the information. You know which warrior is sleeping with the Hersier's wife. You know which lensmod is negotiating with a rival chief. You learn to trade that information like silver.
You build a faction, not a rebellion, a trig, a loyalty pact. You find the 3 most capable shield bearers, the ones who hate Arnfast as much as you do. You share your extra rations with them. You cover for their mistakes. In return, they watch your back. You also start learning scythe. Not magic, but psychological manipulation. You learn to lower your voice so men have to lean in. You learn to pause before answering, so every word sounds like a judgment. You stop being a shield bearer. You become a Rodguffy, a whisperer. A rival warband attacks at dawn. The Hersier takes a throwing axe to the shoulder. He goes down. The banner pole is knocked from your hand. For 3 heartbeats, chaos. Then you grab the banner, drive the butt into the mud, and shout, "Stand!" You don't know where the voice comes from, but the warriors hear it. The line holds. When the Hersier is carried to the vulva, the healer, he looks at you with something like respect. "You lead the hird tonight," he gasps. "Don't make me regret it." You are now level 5, acting commander. And you already know you will make him regret it. Not by failing, but by succeeding too well.
Level 5, the acting herd commander. The herd is 15 men, the elite core of the warband. They own mail shirts, Frankish swords, and helmets with cheek guards. They have killed more people than you have ever met. And for the next 3 weeks, while the Hersier lies in a fever dream with a rotting shoulder wound, they take orders from a former thrall who still smells like the byre. You don't sleep more than 3 hours a night. Every decision is a knife edge. Do you raid the coast or wait for reinforcements? Do you punish Arnfast for disobeying a direct order or let it slide to avoid a blood feud? Do you tell the men that the Hersier is dying or do you lie? You choose to lie. You tell them the healer says he will recover. It's a tactical decision. If the men know the Hersier is dying, the mercenaries will defect to the rival chief by sunset. The household warriors will start fighting over who gets the silver hoard. The warband will collapse into a Niedinger, a dishonorable civil war. But the lie burns in your chest. You are no longer a survivor. You are now an operator. And every operator learns the same lesson. Power protects you from hunger and cold, but it does not protect you from yourself.
The Hersier is already dead. Not physically, he still breathes, but the man who led the warband for 15 years is gone. The elite knows it. The healer knows it. The only one pretending otherwise is you. And that pretense is the only thing holding the warband together. You realize
that leadership is not strength. Leadership is the ability to maintain a useful fiction until reality becomes unbearable. You also realize that you are now the de facto chief. But if you claim the title openly, the Herseer's sons will kill you in your sleep. So you rule from the shadows. You give orders through his name. You let the sons believe they are in charge. You stop thinking about survival. You start thinking about succession. The Herseer has 2 sons. One is a drunk. One is a coward. Neither can hold the warband together. But if you back the drunk and secretly negotiate with the rival chief for a truce, you might be able to broker a merger, absorb the rival's warband into yours. You would lose your name, but you would keep your life and a pocket of silver. The cost? You would betray the Herseer's corpse. You would become a Svikati, a betrayer. But you've already killed men. You've already lied. One more cut to your soul is just another scar.
The Herseer dies on the 22nd night. You stand in the rain as the Hyrd builds his ship barrow. Arnfast makes a speech about loyalty and honor. You say nothing. After the ashes cool, Arnfast challenges you. Not with a sword, with a proverb. A thrall who carries a banner is still a thrall. The Hyrd watches. You look at Arnfast. You remember every elbow in the kidney, every kick in the mud, every time he called you Thrall-Born. You say quietly, "Then follow me, and I will make you a king." Or follow the drunk, and die in a ditch next spring. The Hyrd waits. Arnfast spits, but he doesn't draw his sword. You have just crossed the threshold into level 6. Not a commander, a warlord in waiting. And the war has only just begun.
To be continued in level 6.